I've been waiting for this. So it's both a good day and an anxiety-ridden day. So I have finished a sketchbook. I love finishing sketchbooks because I love to go through them from the beginning to the end and see everything that I've done, if I've changed anything or progressed on anything, or maybe altered an idea that I had once and just changed it over. And so I document it in here and I get to look at it and share it with you. That's wonderful too. It is also very high anxiety because this has been my main cold press sketchbook for years. Well, last 2 years it has been. I started on 3/5/23 and I ended at 2/16/25. So this is 2 years in the making, and here it is, and it's all here. But now what do I use for my main cold press sketchbook? I don't really have. Now, this is the Hahnemühle 100% cotton book. It's a good book. I've said that many times before. I've really enjoyed creating with it. It holds up to everything I throw at it. It works well with everything. Even the tape doesn't stick to it and pull up. So for the most part, I'm very happy with this book. It is cold pressed, but it's not so much so that it's heavily textured. You know, you have some like the Etcher sketchbook, the cold press sketchbook. I love that book. Heavily textured. And that's a wonderful thing too, because I really enjoy that. But this one, it's enough that you can get the dry brush effect, the whole thing, no hard edges, wonderful. All the characteristics of a good cold press watercolor paper. Maybe a little thinner. I don't remember, what is the... It's 120 pound instead of 140 pound. That's really not that big of a deal, and you barely notice. The only thing you notice is the little, at the end, it's a little wavy. Don't worry about it being wavy. It's not a big deal. It's a sketchbook. Leave it in there, and that's with the thing clamped closed all the time with this little useless strap that people do. And I say it's useless. It's actually not. You know, I hated these straps for a long time, putting them around a book. But if you ever travel with a book and you've ever had the book open and pages get like crammed in and destroyed, you appreciate that something. I used to put binder clips on there and they dent all the edges. This one, the edges have even dented from the elastic. Can you see the little, it's like a little weird lip right there. It kind of just dips in right there. That's from having this elastic on there all the time. But I don't care. It's a wonderful book, like I said. I enjoy it. But it's done. Let's look at it so I can talk to you a little bit about it. And I'm going to go off to the side on it so maybe I can talk to you a little bit if I need to say something. So, okay, so like I said, you have from 3/5/23 to 2/6/25. Almost 2 years. It's wonderful. It's been a ride. Let me tell you, I've enjoyed this. So this first piece I did, it was just a rock formation. I love rock formations. You look at rock formations and there's all these crevices and the shadows and the light and all this stuff that happens on the rocks, and I just thought it was good. Now, what I did was this, I always do this kind of washed out background, this blended background, and I said this time I'm gonna make the subject reflect the background. So I'm not going to put any kind of lining on it to kind of line it out, any kind of masking fluid or anything like that. I'm just gonna draw right over that background, just like that. And I think it came out fine. I enjoy that piece. It was I did the first thing I did in here, and I absolutely loved it. Now, sometimes I do the first page and I hate it. This time, everything was good. This is the first page I did where I was testing the book. So what I wanted to do was put layers and layers and scratch at it and dig into it and all those things. So you can't really see it that much. But anyway, there's multiple layers of watercolor on here, then multiple layers I did in the shadows, then multiple layers where I did there's little scratched lines in here where I'm just trying to scratch out some of the shadow areas, and I just dumped as much as I could on it, and it held up fine. There was no issues, no pilling, nothing came up, and I said, okay, I've got a good book. I'm going to be able to work with this thing. I don't like the drawing itself. It's just some tree roots that are, it's not bad, but there's some tree roots coming out. But overall, it was a test page, and I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so this page I really liked. I did this with a washed background, just barely. You could barely see the difference between the white of the page and the background itself. I just kind of did a very, very light wash. I don't remember why I did that. I'm sure if I go back and listen to the video, I'll just say why I did that. But anyway, I don't know why, but I did it that way. And then I made like a darker kind of a reddish color as it came down, and then an even darker blue-gray color as it came towards the front. And then I put ink in it and made this little ink pattern. And then I went back in with a white pen and made highlights. Like these are the trees, and there's like highlights in there. And this is like this big weird thing over the mountain. And I don't know, I love it. I don't know what I did. I don't know why I did it, but I do love this piece. I've been doing these a lot. I really get into these. I like just taking the brush, and I just take like the Pentel Pocket Brush was most of them, and then I used another one that I don't even remember the name of because it was like a generic version of a brush pen. And I went ahead and scratched out and scribbled out some thicker areas and just a pattern. And then I went back in and I took, put the paint in it first, the second time, not first. The ink was first, then the paint, and then I went ahead and put in all the detail with a multi-liner. I just enjoy doing them. I don't know why. It's fun to me. This was a fountain pen drawing. I just don't know what, I don't remember. Some things I don't have any idea. I don't know what I did or why I did it. But it was a fountain pen drawing. I enjoyed it. And I think I was just using a fountain pen and showing you the fountain pen. But it was a fun drawing, and I enjoyed it. It's nice. There's nothing wrong with it. Very light colors. See how pastel these colors are? Very, very light. So remember that first page in the book where I said I put in the background and then I went over it with ink? I was trying to do that here. I did the whole page in that dark, deep blue, and then when I put the colors over it, it did not work very well. Everything looks very dark and gloomy, so I guess if that's the mood you're in, I guess it works, but it didn't work the way that I wanted to. I wanted to put the color over and make it concentrated enough where it sat over. It's watercolor, so it's not gonna happen that way, but it's okay. I still think it came out good, just didn't come out exactly how I wanted. There's that rough watercolor line and wash thing. I don't remember what I called it on the channel. I called it dry brush abstract line and wash. That's what I called it. So that's what it is. And there's a playlist on the channel. There's like 18 videos of this kind of art. And if you go look at that. But anyway, or at least some kind of something close to this. So, but I really enjoyed this piece, and I like how the color glow. I think I used the Holbein colors, and the reason that I say I used the Holbein paints, I'm not sure, not 100%, but that Holbein just glows behind the ink, and I don't know if I did it on this one. This one might be a little bit duller, but it could be. I don't really know if I did it on this one. I'll have to go back and look at that video. Here's another one of them. This one I did. I used the Holbein on this one. I know I did because I remember it very clearly, and this is where I was noticing it more, just glow behind the background, and I was mixing colors in a puddle, and it was like one puddle of color, and I just kept splashing on there, and it didn't matter what I mixed into it. It didn't get muddy. It didn't, oh, you mixed too many colors, it's gonna get muddy. It didn't get muddy. I gotta bend this a little bit. This book is holding up remarkably well, but you will see a couple of spots down the spine where it's starting to separate. It happens. It's just, you can't prevent it. Nothing's gonna last forever like that. So anyway, really enjoyed that piece. Did the same thing here. It's a self-portrait, of course. You can tell the resemblance, right? Just picture me with things flying off the back of my head. I don't know. Anyway, another one that I enjoyed. Again, once I get in a habit of doing something, I try. These are so quick. I can do these fairly quickly. So they roll off the brush. They just come out, just that's how they are. So again, I love doing it. I love putting the extra detail in. The thing that I really like about these is there's a lot of detail inside here that you can see. And the same thing you can see, if you actually look closely, you'll see extra detail. You'll see lines going all different ways, creating different textures. And that's what I really like about these. So this was supposed to be a combination of this and the other drawing where I do the the wash in the background, then I do the dark spots on top. And then, but at this time, I just did a sketchy part on top and then put in all the details. So it's different than the other ones. It's just like combining those two styles. Not bad. It wasn't the greatest thing. I don't think I've ever done it again, but oh, maybe I have. I don't remember. But it's not something I do all the time. It happened, and I enjoyed it. It was okay. This was a fountain pen drawing. I know it was, and it had that Yoyaki paint on it. Not paint, the ink. It had Yoyaki ink on it. Yoyaki. You know what the Yoyaki is. There it is, right there. So this is the Iroshizuku. You know what the words are. I'm not going to say the words. The Yoyaki, that's the word I say. It's the pilot. So anyway, I love this ink. The color of it is beautiful. I love that. Let me see if can you see that color? Oh my goodness, that is beautiful ink right there. Anyway, I have that in a pen and I use it, and if you go darker with it, if you really light, it looks like a pumpkin orange almost, like a very light orange here. But then once you get into these dark areas, it gets a very dark, deep, like a reddish orange. Absolutely love it. Don't quote me on it, but I think it means sunset or something like that. I think that's what the Yoyaki means. I'm not very fluent in anything, especially English. But when I look at other languages, you can't trust a word I say. So this was a drawing I did. I remember this because this was a fountain pen drawing I did, and I was going through it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm going to point a couple things out just so you're looking here. See right here? That's a minion right there with the single eye, with the little bangs and the little mouth down and stuff. I put a minion in here. I don't know if anybody ever saw that when they were watching the video. Also, there's two eyes here and an upper lip and a bottom lip. Put another eye here. There's eyes all over this thing. Then there's a face here with an eye here, and then a nose, which is like a mouth that's open, and the chin, the lower jaw that comes kind of up here. So I did that there, and this kind of is the whole head of this thing. But I also did a couple more things. If you look here, there's a guy here that has his, like the eye and then the teeth coming up here. There's another one here. This is an eye with a horn, and these are the teeth here. I was just stringing things together, and as soon as I saw something that was a face, I left it in there. I put it in and made sure that I accentuated the marks that were already there. What was this? This was something. This might have been, I don't know if this is not the Daniel Smith Primatech, is it? No, I think this was the Schmenka granulating set. I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. It's one of them. It's one of the granulating sets, I think, because there's a lot of granulation in it. And I'm looking at it. You can see a lot in this green, and it's one of those. So that's what that was. I don't remember exactly. It came out just fine. This poor creature is just crawling. It's almost like it was in a war. It was in a battle. And it's just trying to hold on and make it to the finish line. It's crawling. The thing that when I look at this, all I think of are those poor marathon runners. You ever see, oh, it's healthy to be a runner. And then you watch the marathon person cross the finish line and they could just collapse and convulse on the floor. That sounds real healthy to me. I can't wait to go for a run. So, but that's what this reminds me of. Just one of those marathon runners. Anyway, don't worry about that. There's another one with the Holbein paint. I know it's Holbein paint. It's the one puddle thing, and I love how these come out. I absolutely love them. I don't know what I was thinking here. I'm not sure what I was thinking here. This is a little, I was just testing. I know it's a palette test or something like that. I was testing out colors and testing out a certain paint or something. I think it was Core, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But see, they say when you put stuff in the book, it triggers memories. Not for me, it does not. Once in a while, I get some memories triggered, and then it's very strong. But sometimes I do stuff, and I'm just doing it. There's no story here. I'm not telling a story, so there's nothing to remember about the story, because it's not a story to begin with. It's just something I was putting on the page to try and make it look interesting. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I think it does. When I look at this, I kind of see like I know there's a lot of horrible things happening in my paintings, like a monster that's dying or something. Like the eye is here and it's fallen over on its side and its mouth is open, and it's just, it was taken over by this weird like fungus growth thing that's springing out of the top of its head. And I don't know. I have no idea. It's just what happened when I sneezed on the page. That's what happens. Okay, so this was a viewer sent me some wonderful dip pens, and I still have them and still use them. I did find out they did scratch the hell out of this page. That's the one thing. I don't think anything can hold up to a dip pen. Dip pens just kill everything. But and only in the darkest parts. The rest of it's fine. But the darkest areas here where I had to fill in color, it destroyed it. However, I did find that if you take the nib and you just rub it on a little bit of Scotch-Brite or a very, very fine grit sandpaper, just to round that edge a little bit on that nib. You don't want to cut into where it's feeding, but you just want to round it a little bit so it's just a little smoother on the paper, and it works much better. But this one I did not do that too, and I was flicking paint with this thing. I would dig in and flick it, so it was spitting paint, or not paint, ink, you know what I mean. It was spitting ink everywhere, and I just used a couple different colors of ink in this drawing, and that's all that was. It's not bad. It's a simple kind of drawing thing, painting, but I love the background, and I tried to do the same thing I did in the first page again, and just put the whole thing down and then try and paint on top and make something from it. I don't think it was very successful, but it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't anything special. This was okay, so everything before that, there's no core paint on it until here. This is the core paint. This, you know what? That other one might have been my Daniel Smith palette when I just went to the smaller palette and I was trying that out. I think that's what that was. But anyway, this is the core painting. This is the one, now I told you, some things stick in my head. This one stuck in my head. This is the core. And the first one I did, it was the Earth set that I got. It was the 6 colors or whatever on the Earth set. I love this painting. I love that guy, that little thing that kind of just sprung out. All I was doing is putting wet into wet this whole thing and just let the colors do what they were doing. And then I went back in with some ink and just tried to make a little thing with it. And I love this piece. It's just this weird creature who is in the desert, apparently, and it has this like green slime stuff that coats its body to keep it moist so it doesn't dry out in the heat. I love it. I think it's a great thing. It's one of my favorite pieces in the book. Okay, this one I remember what I was doing. I was trying to make it look like there was graffiti on top of one of those other drawings that I do with all the details, with all the line work, all the line details. And I think it was successful. It doesn't say anything. This does not spell anything. It may look like I tried to do a little S here and like almost like an A here or whatever, but this doesn't actually say anything. There's nothing here. So it looks like it's some kind of graffiti that was put over this piece, but it's not. Okay, just talking with a bunch of you about reflective paints. It is getting hot in here. I got to keep the vent open, otherwise you hear that whistling sound the whole time. So the vent's open, the heat's on, and it is hot up here. Anyway, this is the Posca metallic paint, and this is the one, it will shine a little bit and be a little reflective. The paint will be reflective, and yet you can still see it perfectly clear in all of its beauty and color, just like this. So metallic paints I do really like. I enjoy them. That other one was not working for me. Many of you gave me great ideas on what I could do to maybe show the silver paints. And we're going to go into it probably on a giveaway video. I'll go into all the details, all the advice everyone gave me, and I'll try it and see how it works. But anyway, metallic paint, I do love it. I did this thing where I did the dark spots and then put this metallic paint over it instead of anything else, and I really like that piece. This may be a core and Daniel Smith set, or just may be a core when I got some new colors, because there are some new colors in here. And still, again, beautiful colors, very vibrant. I love them. I think they're wonderful. And this piece was fine. Okay, so this piece was, and I don't know if I can fit on the screen with this thing because it's a full page. Anyway, this piece was great. It was the Paul Rubens set that I was testing out, and it was very when I was doing the swatching for those paints, it wasn't that vibrant on the swatch card. When I did that in the book, they got very vibrant. These are bright colors, wonderful, and I tried to use as many colors as I can from the set, and it was wonderful. And I enjoy the piece itself. I think that's a cool little creature kind of popping off to the side. It's a wonderful thing. All right, there's another full page. I think I started doing some full page spreads here. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, full page spread here, and this is just some creature. It's like, you know, you think of these big, huge monster creatures that eat plants, or that just, you know, like the giant anteater that just has this long thing that just eats ants. That's all it does. Anyway, so this is this floating beast that just comes down here, and unfortunately, I think it's sucking the essence from the world, so it's different. But anyway, it had fun with this one. This is a fun one. I like how it came out. I like all the details in it, and I thought it was good. Okay, I'm briefly going to show this on two sides here, 2 pages, just to show you that these are the colors on the set that I made with these. But every color here was made from those colors and put onto this page. So I think my point was blending colors does not make them muddy. That was the point. I blended all of these, this whole painting is nothing but blended colors. I don't know if there's a straight paint in here. There might be. This orange here looks very close to that. But I think it was still mixed with a little bit of this burnt orange. I think it was. But anyway, absolutely beautiful. That's one of my favorite colors, by the way. I have so many favorite colors with these paints. Anyway, I love this set here, and I still use it all the time. I did switch out the Cad Red Deep to something else, but I may put it back because I love it. It gives me these deep, dark reds that nothing else does. So anyway, this was a great piece. I love the colors from it. Let me slide this over here. Okay, so I love the colors that were created from all the other paints, and the palette itself just complemented itself so wonderfully. I love doing that, so that's why I really love how this paint set went together. And the colors in general are what I like. You have the earth yellow, the warm yellow, orange, which I love. This is kind of an earthy orange. Then you have a dark, deep red, another beautiful, I don't even know what you'd call that, but it is a Quinburn orange. But it's a reddish orange, but I don't know. It's just a deep red. I would say this is a deep red. Anyway, this is one of my favorite colors. This is Pyrrhotite Genuine, this dusky pink color. I love that. The Perylene Violet, one of my favorite violet colors or purple colors that I use on my palettes. The French Cerulean Blue is beautiful from Core. I absolutely love it. It's better than any other Cerulean Blue I've ever used. I really enjoy it. The Indigo is a wonderful color. I enjoy that. The Payne's Gray, of course. I have Payne's Gray on every palette that I ever make. Olive Green is my favorite green in Core. The entire line, that's the green that I use. And as a kicker, just to stab myself in the foot, I think it uses my nemesis, the Phthalo Green, is in there. It's just, it's hiding. I'm coming for it. The EF Brown Iron Oxide, beautiful color, granulates more than any other paint I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely beautiful. And the Raw Umber, of course, is beautiful as well. So I like those colors. I know I have 2 browns on here and a dusky pink. And why would I put 2 browns on there? Because I like them. That's why. I have to correct myself. I think this was the Paul Rubens. You know what? Going back here, is that Paul Rubens or is that Paul Rubens? One of them I think is Rosa Gallery. I don't know. I'd have to go back. But can you tell the difference? I sure can't. Anyway, it's an interesting piece. It's fine. It's wonderful. There's a lot of different colors because I was trying to use a whole set. So I'm trying to put as many colors as I can in here. It's not making sense visually, but I was going along and I said, oh, that looks like some kind of praying mantis creature. So I just made one of those. Okay, here's one that I enjoy doing. I like doing these. And here's what I was talking about. So when you put the tape down on the side, sometimes it leaks under the tape. It's okay. I just make it like it's supposed to do that. I just go on the outside of it and say, yeah, it was exactly what I was trying to do in the first place. That's what I was going for. Didn't you know that? It makes it more interesting. And I do think it makes it more interesting. So I don't mind when that happens and it goes under the tape. I don't need that seal on it that's so tight that it's a perfect edge. I don't need that. Oh, this is the Kuretake set. Now we're going to talk about a Kuretake set here in a couple of videos. When I first purchased this set, it said Nuveo set. However, I've been told by many people that this is not the Nuveo set. It's just a supplemental 12 set to the Nuveo set or something like that. It's the Nuveo sets. I think that's what it's supposed to be sound out as Nuveo, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure. That's how I pronounce it, so I'm saying that's how I pronounce Nuveo. Anyway, these colors were great. I love them. They're for me, way too many pinks and those kind of colors, but I don't think it matters because I think my favorite color in the whole set was one of those pinks, and that's a weird thing for me. But it's a beautiful, beautiful set, and I did another one of those over here. So I did a second one here. Same thing, I just used a little bit less of the pinks. You can barely tell. The pinks, and then this color right here is another one of my favorite, and I don't know why, because normally in every other set, I do not go for that kind of a color. This time I did. I loved it. There we have one of our glowing rocks again. Again, I love doing these. They're fun. They take time to do because you got to put in all those little lines everywhere you're going. But it doesn't matter. It's very cathartic for me. I like putting these here and then filling them up with lines. It's just a lot of fun. And then you put the paint on. You do whatever you do. Sometimes I do the rough stuff, then I put the paint in, then I go back and put the lines. I think that's the best way to do these because then you can always, if you go outside the line with the paint, you can always fill it in a little bit with the detail. This is what everybody called the grumpy fish, and I see exactly what you're saying. This is a grumpy fish. I definitely see that. I love this piece, by the way. I think it's great. I love that I didn't fill the whole page, that I left some of it open and just did everything else. I also outlined all of these spots. So I did fill this in with black ink, but I left the white outline around the different parts. I really enjoy this one. Hey, you just saw this one in a video. You might see some more that you don't see yet, you never saw in a video. They might come up in another Twisted Sense video. This one was a blast to create. I really enjoy doing that. I like making these. They're fun for me. I like taping off the border. This one didn't go too bad. You see a little spots like in this side here where it kind of had to bump it out because it didn't go to the edge. Like some of it leaked out and some of it came in, and it's fun. I like doing that. And I always like to put the little eye in there. It draws your attention to it. I know some people don't like doing that. Some people think it's creepy. I love it. And maybe it is creepy, but I like it anyway. So this one was an experiment where I put the dark parts in, and then I put a blue part in. So that this is like black, and then this is blue. Over the black area, I put the white pen like I do. And this one is a gel pen. Let me show you the gel pen that I'm using. So some people ask me, and it's the Art X white gel pen. Let me see. Can you see that? Here's the problem. I've never seen these for sale by themselves. They're only sold with the paint pens. And I didn't know that. So I'm telling everyone, oh yeah, get these. These are great. I love these things. These are like my favorite white gel pen right now. But you have to buy the whole set of pens to get these. You get like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, whatever you get in the set, and then you get silver and gold with it. I'm not a fan of silver and gold unless it's Christmas time. There's no room for silver and gold in my life. I do have those silver paints. We were talking about those, maybe for an accent here or there, but silver is not my thing. I mean, gold is not my thing. I don't mind the silver as much. I'm not a big fan of gold at all, not even a little bit. Anyway, That's what I'm using in this one, is this pen. I'm almost 100% positive. Anyway, then I just went back in with a fine liner and did the black parts on that. It was just to be a contrast thing. I don't think it even worked very well. I like the design, the overall aesthetic of the piece, but it didn't work the way that I wanted it to. Okay, here's another one of those sketchy kind of things, but I didn't put all the details in. I regretted it. I didn't like that. It's fine, it's a fine piece, but when you look at, hold on, let me get there. Yeah, when you look at something like this and you see all the detail that's in there, that's what I wanted. And when I did this one, I said, let me just challenge myself to leave it where it is, say that it's done and not put all the details in and see if it's better. And because every time I would get someone say, oh, you put all the lines in and you ruined it. It looked nice before that, and then you put the lines in and now it looks terrible. And then I would get comments like that all the time. And then I said, oh, well, let me try not doing it. To me, this looks unfinished. It looks like an 8-bit video game or something. I don't know, it looks terrible. I don't like, but I left it there to remind myself to never do it again. Enjoyed this one a lot, the graphite kind of paint thing here. And there's a hidden tree man. I don't know if I mentioned that in the video. Anyway, there's the eye here. It kind of goes up this way, but there's the eye here, and there's the nose, and then there's the upper lip here, and then there's the lower lip here. So it's a tree man, keep that in mind. It's like you have to cover like this whole section here, and then you see this tree man here. Anyway, then I just put in a bunch of stuff around him to kind of camouflage him. That's what I did. I think it turned out pretty well. I'm just gonna show these both for a second. This was my screw up. So this is when I thought I was comparing two ink paints or two graphite paints, and instead I was comparing the ink paint to the graphite paint. Completely two different things, but at least it shows the comparison between the two, why you would use ink paint maybe, or why you would use a graphite paint maybe, just between the two. Anyway, to this one, I love how this came out. The vibrancy and how bright it is and how it almost glows on the page. I think it's beautiful. I love this piece, one of my favorite that's in this book. This one here, very nice. I do like graphite paint. I love the softness and the subtlety you can get from graphite paints. Absolutely love it, but it's just not, it doesn't have as much pop as the other one, that's all. Okay, so this was a comparison between the Kuretake ink paint and like a Derwent Inktense paint. And I just kind of blended them here. But anyway, they look virtually identical. Unless you're really looking and you can't tell that these are two different paints. They just might have a little bit different quality, but overall, pretty close. This was a drawing of some neurons in the brain. It didn't work. It's way too busy. It's very distracting. I know I was using a certain type of paint, I think, paint marker maybe or something, and I was testing it out and doing the drawing for it, but I don't think it works very well at all. It's up to you, but I think it's too busy. This was just a fun little sketchy landscape, and I just played with some color. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but not much to say about it. Another sketchy drawing here. I imagined, I don't know, but this giant like rock dragon, and this is just one of its legs with like its claws spread out here, just kind of like that kind of, and just hitting the ground. That's just what I imagined after I did it. I had no idea what I was doing when I did it. It's just what I think happened. This is a comparison here about if you use the normal colors, does it make it more interesting or not? The mistake I made here was there's not enough contrast up in here. And then if you look at the comparative drawing here of the similar thing here, these pop a lot more because of that, but these are the colors that would be normal. A brown tree, blue sky, green grass, you know, the normal thing. I did do some green here, just a little bit different, but different color sky, different colored trees, and just see, does it use different color mushrooms? What does it pop a little bit more because it's different? Is it more interesting? Not pop. Is it more interesting because you're not using the normal colors? And that was just a test I was doing, and here it is. Now this, I wanted to make a part of this. I know it has nothing to do with this, but I wanted to kind of just link it up and just spill it over, and that's what I did. Filled up the whole page. Absolutely love it. I think it's a great piece. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did the same thing where I put in the black part here, the dark ink, but I left the white outline around all the pieces and parts, and I like how that came out. This was a test that you never saw. You never got to see this. This is a test that I was just looking at to do something in the simplest way possible. So this is like minimalism art or something like that of a sunset. Can I do it? And I did it. And I took the inspiration from like that folk art kind of thing and just put this piece in here. And I think it came out just fine. I like it. Oh, there's the cootie. So this thing, it's fine. I like it. I think it's funny looking. And I enjoy it. It's a little weird creature. And, you know, little weird creatures are funny. That's just how that is. This acrylic painting that I did in here, love it. I absolutely love the colors that I used. I love how it came out. It just, again, another great piece for me in my book. You may not like it. You may not be into the acrylic thing. I am. I love it. And I think it came out good. You have not seen this yet. This is something you have definitely not seen anywhere in any video yet. It is recorded, but you haven't seen it. I'm kind of figuring out what am I going to do with this, because I wasn't thinking or doing anything in particular, and I wasn't reviewing anything. I wasn't looking at a particular product. I just did it, and so you'll eventually see it somewhere. Okay, I'm going to talk about both of these, but let's start with this one. So this one I really enjoy because I had the white pen. This is that, where is it? This one, this white pen here full of white ink, which is still working wonderfully, by the way. I absolutely love it. And it did dump a big spot of ink here, which I don't mind because it just added to the contrast in this little area here. I think it came out well. There's more contrast here and I like it compared to this one. However, the reason that I like this one is because the detail that I can get all throughout here. So I learned how to use the brush. If you look back on here, a lot of that detail was lost here. I was trying to do it, I couldn't get it. I would try to do it here, not really successful with it. These bigger parts I was successful with and I enjoyed them. But then when I got to here, after using the pen for a bunch of times and just playing with it enough, I was able to get a lot more details than they worked. There's very, very fine detail in some of these. And it was with the pen, it's a nice drawing. So I like this one more because of the detail and how everything looks more textured. I like this one more because of the more contrast that it has. So they're both fine in my book. I'll give you a double shot there. That's what it looks like on the spread. And again, I did where I went outside the lines. I really enjoy doing that now. So I make the little window pane thing, put the color in there, peel off the tape, then do the black part outside the lines a little bit. And I think that, I enjoy that. I like it. There's the Kuretake granulating set. Now, on the page, you can't see much granulation. You have to get right up on it to see it. Like, there's a lot of granulation. Actually, this whole piece here, a lot of granulation, but you can't see it. I don't think you can see it on the screen. I don't know if you will ever be able to see that because it's very hard to see. Same thing here. Ton of granulation. It's just so small and light. So you have to add layers with these. And I think if I make another painting using them the way that I just learned how to use them, thanks to all of you, because it had nothing to do with me, I think it'll look a little different. So I'm going to try doing that in the future sometime. And then you all saw this, a little marker drawing, or I think it was a marker drawing, yes. And absolutely, it was fun. I just had a good time. I started doing something and realized it looked like a bird. So I just finished it, making it look like a bird, even though that's the weirdest looking bird I've ever seen. But a lot of you said it looked very aggressive, like it was going to kill your cat. And don't worry, this bird does not hunt cats, but that's only because it hunts much bigger things. Don't worry about it. Well, maybe you should. Anyway, at the end, I said this is just the beginning, because at the end of every book, all it does is make me want to do another book and finish it. So I hope it's not another 2 years before I finish a sketchbook. That would be terrible. But I do enjoy this book. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And you can see, let me show you, like right here, there's a perfect example. You could see this falling apart in the seam here. It happens. It happens on every kind of book because it's just glue. so the glue eventually gives way or tears the paper, one or the other. And in this case, it tore the paper. Nothing's coming out. These pages are stuck in there. Everything's fine. It's just sometimes the binding comes a little loose. And I definitely recommend getting this book to anyone looking to get a cold press watercolor book, because it is a great book, just like these people popping up on the screen here right now. They're great too in my book. So how about that? Thumb up the video if you enjoyed the flip through. If you want to see another one, hopefully it encourages me to finish one quicker. And if you enjoy finishing a sketchbook and starting a new one. All right, I get excited because I know that my main cold water sketchbook, it's not a cold water sketchbook. It's a cold press sketch from the top. So I know that when I finish this, oh, that's not what I want to say either. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to see, you're just going to see the side of my head. I don't know. You ever look at the side of my head? I have. I'm sure you have, because it's been on camera, but I have some weird things happening with my hair. Luckily, I don't have any for you to see, but sometimes I turn my head and it's like parted down the side of, like, behind my ear. I don't know what that is. I have the weirdest hair pattern I've ever seen. Like the back of my head grows around and the front of my head grows down this way and this side grows forward over here. It's just a weird thing. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that. That's for me to worry about. And I will say it's hard to, they finally did some, so this is a lav mic. I'm touching it. I'm making a lot of noise, I'm sure. But anyway, they make this little magnet that goes on the back of it so you can put it under your shirt. And then, like in the last video where I had it clipped on the side or something, no, it's nice. You can just clip it right there with the little magnet. You see that thing? It makes it so much easier. I'm making noise. Am I making noise? Can you hear some noise? Okay. I've been yelling for a very long time and my voice is just about shot. No, I gotta turn down your video every time that your video comes on. I gotta turn it down because you're yelling all the time. That's right, I yell. I talk loudly when I'm excited about things. If you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. All right, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.